This is KGW News at 11.
And new here tonight at 11, Pacific Power and Portland General Electric are restoring power. Pacific Power saying all of its customers have their power back. When it comes to PGE, not everyone is back on the grid, but the utility company says it is working to restore power to all 10 of its affected zones. Both companies started turning power off on Friday due to strong wind gusts and extreme conditions. We are seeing some improvements, but the work for fire crews is far from over. This is a map of the wildfires burning in Oregon right now. Tonight, we're focusing on the ones that you see labeled in red on your screen: the McIver Fire, the Vita Springs Fire, Double Creek, and Cedar Creek. Hello and welcome to KGW News at 11. I'm Brittany Folkers alongside meteorologist Joe Ranieri. And of course, something that most people are seeing is the effect from the smoke. So when is that going to let up?
It's not going to let up until basically the early part of the work week. By, I'd say, late morning, early part of the afternoon on Monday, things will really clear out. But the one thing that we are going to be seeing is improving conditions for crews who are working on those wildfires, Brittany. The winds will really subside here. They've really basically have kind of died down here in just the last couple of hours, but the big story is going to remain the thick smoke that is just sitting over much of the Pacific Northwest. So let's put Futurecast into motion. This is showing the smoke level at 5,000 feet. You can kind of see how thick it's going to be throughout the central and eastern side of the state. Of course, this is where the Cedar Creek fire continues to burn over in Lane County. As we go into tomorrow, it's going to be very thick. So if you don't have to be outdoors, that is probably going to be best. Of course, if you have any respiratory issues, it's going to be good advice to stay inside. You can see it's going to clear out at least on the west side of the state by Monday afternoon. But if you have plans throughout the Columbia River Gorge over the next couple of days or anywhere east side of the Cascades, you are going to be seeing some very thick smoke. Speaking of that thick smoke, I know it's dark out there, but I want to bring in one of our live cameras up at Timberline Lodge. It almost looks like some low clouds. Well, that is the smoke that's sitting over much of the Pacific Northwest right now. Now, I talked about how the winds have really subsided a little bit here in just the last couple of hours. At one point, we were seeing peak wind gusts right around 30 miles per hour earlier this afternoon or early part of the evening. Now it is all quieted down throughout the Columbia River Gorge as well. Going throughout the overnight hours, we could be seeing winds pick up just a little bit, but they're going to be very light compared to what we have been seeing basically since yesterday. The other thing you're going to be running into is the poor air quality out there as well. You can kind of see throughout much of the metro area, we're looking at either down to the moderate or unhealthy for some groups. And of course, you travel into the central and southern side of the state, it's very unhealthy. And it's going to be that way for the next couple of days until that areas of smoke starts to clear out. And again, that's not going to happen until the early part of next week. I do have good news for crews. There is going to be a slight chance for some showers to move into the forecast. I'll talk more about that and when we'll be seeing those changes move in coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thanks so much. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office says evacuations for the McIver Fire have been reduced. The fire started last night, burning in Milo McIver State Park in Clackamas County. Now, level 3 evacuations have been shrunk to cover the park and the roads surrounding it. And at last check with Clackamas Fire, the McIver Fire is contained, and that's at around 25 acres with a fire line around it. Officials encourage people to stay up to date, sign up for public alerts, and check out those evacuation maps because conditions can change quickly.
I think the weather would be our biggest component in how difficult it is to fight this fire. And you also mentioned the terrain. Those are going to be the two biggest things. I'd say after that, we have multiple fire agencies here working together. Everyone's trained just a little bit differently, but our goal is the same.
And a reminder from the county not to call 911 if you need more information about whether you're in an evacuation zone. Instead, check online or call 211. And now to the Vita Springs fire in Salem. Nearly 120 homes face a level 3 evacuation and more than 500 homes are facing a level 2 evacuation. Level 3 meaning go now, 2 means be ready. This fire started on Friday afternoon around 4 on Vita Springs Road South. That's about 7 miles away from downtown Salem. Right now, the fire is 100% contained, but crews say they still have work to do.
Fire officials gave us an update this morning that they do have the fire 100% contained. A lot of their focus this morning and then throughout the day is going to be using air assets to be able to drop fire retardant around the perimeter of the fire, as well as using crews to strengthen lines around the fire for containment.
These conditions can change on a dime. Emergencies can change on a dime. So I think people should stay alert.
So far, no injuries have been reported and no structures have been lost. And no matter where you are in the state, you're dealing with smoke from these fires. What you're looking at right here is video from Cannon Beach and some from Astoria sent to us today from Gina Graham. Yeah, we're tracking the impact on air quality as the wildfire haze takes over throughout the region.
Well, there's just a lot of smoke going around right now.
Dry, windy conditions, fuel flames, and smoke around the region.
For the foreseeable future, we don't have really an end date at this point just because of the fire activity.
Harry Estev is with the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality. He says a lot of the smoke in the Portland metro area is from the Cedar Creek fire near Oak Ridge.
Our air quality right now is moderate, which means it's still fine to be outside doing outdoor activities or running your air conditioner or having your windows open. But in places like Oak Ridge, the air quality is up to the top of the scale at hazardous. It's just not safe to breathe that air.
But things can change fast, so keep an eye on air quality conditions on KGW.com and online. Here's a breakdown of the air quality index. Green means good, healthy, or adequate. Yellow means moderate. Air quality is acceptable. However, there may be a risk for some people, particularly those who are unusually sensitive to air pollution. Orange means unhealthy for sensitive groups. Red means unhealthy. Some people might experience health effects. Sensitive groups might experience more serious health effects. Purple means very unhealthy, usually a health alert. The risk of health effects is increased for everyone. And maroon means hazardous at 301 or higher. This marks a health warning of emergency conditions. Everyone is more likely to be affected.
All right, so let's take a look at the latest air quality index map from the DEQ. This is what you're looking at right behind me. Much of the Portland area remains in the moderate range, but we are seeing some of these orange, unhealthy for sensitive group areas pop up around the metro area. So that means if you have some respiratory illnesses, you're very sensitive to this kind of poor air quality, you're going to want to make sure you spend more time indoors. And like I'm saying right here, yellow and orange, that is moderate to sensitive for some groups. But when we get down closer to the Cedar Creek fire past Santiam, that's when we are starting to see some really hazardous qualities where you get there right in maroon. So we'll have more on that. You can continue to follow that on air and online at KGW.com. And scientists who studied smoke from the 2020 wildfires are looking at how to keep the air inside your home safe. The key thing here, weatherizing doors and windows. Then it's time to treat the air that's already in your home.
What we saw was that the introduction of the portable air cleaner dramatically reduced the amount of particulate matter that was inside when the smoke event was very high outside.
Researchers suggest a portable high-efficiency particulate air, or HEPA air filter, with a high clean air delivery rating, or CADR. The higher that number, the greater the volume the purifier can treat per minute, and upgrading your HVAC filter could also be beneficial. We also have links to make your own box fan air filter. You can find that at KGW.com.